Okay, my friends, I'm hoping Jimmy Corsettis from Bright Insight will help to get this exposed. He's asking exactly the right questions. I think I can help. And I will show my evidence to support the things that he's questioning.
How is it even possible that no one is talking about this? As I've shared in recent videos, the inexplicable catastrophic water erosion that is clearly visible throughout the Sahara Desert is so extreme that even the stripped bedrock scarring from whatever this mysterious flood event was can easily be observed from space. But the only thing more bizarre than finding such profound water erosion in the middle of the Sahara Desert, of all places, is the fact that virtually nobody within the scientific or academic community seems to be aware of it, much less discussing it, which I have to say I find quite strange. Yet, the signature traits of a cataclysmic flood event are visible to all who have eyes to see.
Okay, here's the problem, Jimmy, and I agree with you 500%, sir. It supports a lot of the ancient stories. Let's just leave it at that. That is the problem. They have ignored those and called them silly, and now they realize they just ignored them. Velikovsky did not. Immanuel Velikovsky, my hero, and I wrote a book about him called Minds in Collision. He wrote Worlds in Collision, all based on the documentary evidence from every culture on Earth, every single culture, the museums, the libraries, the carvings, the papyruses, the scrolls, the etchings, everywhere. All the oral traditions from every single culture, and they all had the same story. And it all boiled down to 3,500 years ago was probably this exact event. But 3,500 years ago, there was a catastrophic flood on Earth, which was recorded in a lot of the ancient texts. Let's just stay with that. And Jimmy, if you can help, I'm really needing some help. I've got the evidence, but I just cannot get it seen. All right, so if you're asking the questions, I think I can help with some of the answers. That's all I'm asking, my friend. Thank you so much. Okay, I checked only for the mitochondrial DNA because at this point in time there was no really good test to do everything, and it was expensive, and but it was done very, very, very thoroughly. And this was Helix Biolabs, and they say they stand behind the results. You just have to understand, I was the one that extracted the samples. Now, if I sent them stuff out of my own body or something, well, then I'm a liar. That did not happen. I sent them samples from what I will show you is, one of them is right here. This was a lung. Well, it is a lung. And it's almost flawless. And you see how flat it is on the back, Jimmy? It died in a flood. And all my stuff, I call them mud fossils because they died stuck in the flood. Even my goose, Caesar. There's his feather patterns on his head. He died the same way, like that. That side's flat. Velikovsky wrote of the Great Flood that was 3,500 years ago. This is all on the surface of the earth. I'm not digging for any of this stuff. It's right there laying there. Now, this one I took, and I'm going to show you where I took the blood out of, down here, and I'll show you that I can make it still react today. There's tons of blood in here. This can be retested over and over and over. All right, I just put a little catalase on there. Now, watch for the reactions. It'll be bubbling up a little bit. It takes a while. These, you know, they've been sitting around here forever. But you can see there's something shooting out of that area right there. There's all kinds of things moving around in here. They look like it's alive. I found some stuff came out that absolutely does look alive. Now, I don't know what this is, but these are all the catalase reaction bubbles. And wow, look at that. Bam, right over to that. That's kind of interesting. Look at that. It keeps doing that. It's like, look at them. They want to be attached to this. Why? This is something. Wow, look at that one. This is very new. I've never seen that before, where they are attracted from one spot to another. Look at that. They're almost like little meteorites going. Look at them go. What would cause that? Look at them. They're like little bullets shooting over there. Can you see that? That is the most bizarre thing I have ever seen. Look at them. They're shooting. Look at that. Holy smokes. Oh man, I tell you. Every day is like Christmas. Okay, the hand that I had DNA tested had blood literally pouring out of it, but I did drill inside that one as well. That's a left hand. If you stick your left hand out like that, that's the little cleave in between your pads. This pad runs down to your little finger. You have a tendon that runs down, and then your thumb runs off this side over here. This is the grip skin, as I showed you, or I will show you, on the huge fingertip, the 3-foot fingertip. It's the same tough skin. It's called grip skin, friction skin. It's the outermost layer on the tough parts of your body, your fingers, your toes, your heels, and so forth, your palms, and it's where you grip and you do a lot of work. Totally different than the rest of your skin. Alright, this is the 3-foot long fingertip. This is the little bumper pad that goes between your finger and the next bone so that they don't scrub. These are the blood supplies. Of course, the fingernail. This is what they call the luminula or something like that, which is the little white spot that's low, and you can see it now. Let me wipe these off. The only reason I put that on there because it is a little hard to see for those of the uninitiated that don't understand how easy it is to see these if you just take time and think. Now, this is the fingernail. I smashed this piece off, and I showed you, or will show you, that it has fingerprints on it, and not only that, it has blood in it. There was blood inside. I went way down inside. The reason I broke that off is because you really almost can never get blood out of this kind of heavy-duty skin. And these are the blood supplies. That's the pad, that's the fingernail, that's the fingertip, that's the piece I broke off, and I will show you that right now. Alright, that's the grip skin. That's the tough stuff. It's keratinized. It's just, there's almost no blood in it. I did find one little spot, because everything has to be fed with blood, but very, very, very limited. And I did find a spot, and I will show you in the microscope, and I did a catalase test on it, and it shows catalase. It shows blood, which is the enzyme is catalase, and it reacts with the hydrogen peroxide that I'll put on there. You'll see. Alright, yep, we got a catalase reaction right there. This is out of the giant fingertip, and this will be one of the little membrane areas that's in there. Let me see if I can put a little more hydrogen peroxide on there and make it fester up a little better. Let's come up with the light a little bit. You see it bubbling up right there? That's the sign that there's blood. And that is actually the grip skin, and there's almost no blood whatsoever in the grip skin. I went deep into the fingertip itself and sent that off. See what you're looking at up there? That's this right here in the microscope. And that is this, which is the grip skin, and has the fingerprints in it. This piece was broken off of it. It was all one piece when I popped it off of that giant fingertip, and it has the fingerprints right in it right here. These are the actual fingerprints. They're as big as my finger, one fingerprint strip. Okay, my friends, this is another one of these shockers. This is hair under a really very powerful microscope, and there's about 1 million layers of skin. I mean, it's unbelievable the number of layers of skin. Then you have the hairs come out, and they're actually in little flat blocks. These are scales around them to protect the ring around, which is a straight ring. These are like little barrels, one on top of each other. Now, I have one in my microscope right here from a mud fossil, and that's the hair coming out right there, and these are all the skin layers around this one. Of course, it's broken off here. Now, I'm going to show you in the anatomical exactly what that looks like. It's amazing. It's got every little bit of architecture. Okay, get ready, here it comes. Okay, a little anatomy lesson. What does a hair follicle look like in your body? Well, there's, you know, you ever have an ingrown hair, you pull it out, it's got that little bulb on the bottom, it turns black. Well, in addition to that, what you probably never saw was there was a muscle attachment. It's called the erector pill muscle. It goes just like this down to, and that's what makes your hair stand up on end. That's it. And you get to, and your hair stands up on end. That's what that muscle does. Now, what else do you have to have? You have to have a sebaceous oil gland, which is these little blobby things that are attached to the side of the hair follicle to give it a little lubrication so that it can come out nice and smooth. Now mine is broken off right here, but you'll see this is really a wraparound at the bottom, and sometimes they ingrow and then they don't wrap around. I'll show you what it is. I'll show you the actual tooth, and you see the black and the red, the blue and the red here. That is the nutrition for it. It's a blood supply. So I am going to show you this right now in my sample, which is huge. Okay, there is the erector pill muscle, and here it is on mine, attached to the side so it can pull the hair up and down like that. There's the actual center attachment to it. Now, what do you see here? Can you see that sebaceous gland? Just barely. There's the sebaceous gland. This is on the other side, and there is the sebaceous gland here as well. You can see it's almost, well, it's the same thing. That sebaceous gland is right there. All right? You see it? Now, what happens with the hair is it actually grows down, then wraps around and comes up. A little bit different, and that's why sometimes it goes right through the bottom. Now, this is the vein and artery. Of course, they're no longer have any blood in them. This is transition. This is, you know, nucleophilic substitution made it all almost the same material, but it's still, everywhere there was membranes, they separate things. I was going to call this fascia-facilitated fossilization, because everything I had membranes on it that separated everything from everything else. But they would turn into the same material, and I would say, how the hell did that happen? And it's because the membranes all have something called aluminum silicates, which is feldspar. And it is the membrane that separates you in life just like it does in death. Pretty amazing stuff.